Hey there, friends. This is Greg Bukovatz with Ninja Bomb Marketing. I've got my friend Lydia Paasch on with me today from MLP Consulting and Design. I wanted to spend a few minutes with Lydia and just kind of interview her about her business, find out a little bit more about it, give her an opportunity to share with you Springfieldians about her business and what she has to offer. Lydia, we've had a few minutes to kind of catch up and talk. It's a crazy season that we're all finding ourselves in. We're all working from home right now, dealing with the ankle biters, whether they're our dogs and cats or our kids, constantly buzzing around us while we're trying to get work done. But you've been telling me a little bit more about your business, MLP Consulting and Design. And I wanted to point out, I find it interesting, you have a by industry business. So, bookkeeping or accounting and also graphic design. What, if you could just kind of elaborate, like what led you down those paths, first off? What?
Okay. So this is a family business, and MLP is actually the combination of mine and my husband's initials, Matthew and
Okay.
Lydia Paasch. And so my husband is a graphic designer. He does logos and websites and brochures, business cards, all that sort of stuff. And I'm an accountant, and I do bookkeeping for small business owners. And so we just really feel like that those are two big critical items that a company needs, especially if they're first getting started and they want that, set up. They want that stuff, that initial setup, get the books right so that they're good going forward, and help them manage that and maintain it. And then also having it, especially in this digital age where your website and your logo are the first thing, that first impression that people see, that makes having a really good logo a very important piece of your business. And so we were thinking about what we could do to have a family business where the two of us can work together, and we felt like those were two big components that we could put together and actually help small businesses on both sides of it, and not just be focused on one area necessarily. And it plays to both of our strengths as well.
So, I mean, this might come across as just kind of a blatantly obvious question, but I think, there's a point to be made there. Have you and Mike found that either one of those industries has basically created you that second money opportunity when you bring in a client that maybe has just sought you out for bookkeeping? Maybe you got a referral from a friend or a previous client and they've sought you out for bookkeeping, but then when you start getting into it with them, you realize like they've got no like branding going on at all for their company. And then you guys have been able to sell them like a branding package as well. That's kind of what I mean by that
Ye-
second money.
Yeah. So that is an area that we're trying to build more on. I haven't seen a lot of that turnover at the moment, but that is an area where we're trying to build more on that, and be looking for those opportunities and looking for those things where we're like, oh, well, you're just starting out. Do you have a logo? Do you have a business card? Hey, my husband can help you out with that. We've got those opportunities. And so we have a couple of clients that we've done that with, where they were just starting out and they came to me because they knew me for my bookkeeping. And then I was like, well, my husband does graphics and he can get you a logo, pretty
Right.
quickly. And, that's a big thing for people, quick turnaround time. So he's usually pretty quick on the draw and able to get that to them in a relatively short time period, and also relatively cheaply. So
That's awesome. Asking those filtering type questions, and maybe having like a specific procedure, that you're going through every time that you are, you're getting a referral or you bring on a new client, is an excellent way to make sure that you're covering those bases. I mean, you
right.
guys, with him having graphic design background and being able to produce, quickly, you guys have the connections to have the ability to do, swag for businesses. Not everybody calls it that. I
Yeah.
like the word swag, but pens and
Mm-hmm.
t-shirts, banners, all that kind
Yep.
of stuff. You guys have those industry connections where, that's stuff that a lot of people, that are maybe running similar businesses wouldn't even think about, because they're like, well, I just do graphic design, or I just do website design, or I just do this, or I just
Mm-hmm.
do that. And, you and I were talking about this a few minutes ago. Like, these are crazy times that we're finding ourselves in. And there's
Right.
so many businesses that are just like, they're drowning right now. And to an extent, some of that is just a lack of ability to think outside the box. And I'm not trying to minimalize the position that a lot of business owners find themselves in, but this is a point in time where none of us have the ability to afford that. Like, we can't afford to just sit back and live in fear of what's going to happen. We have to kind of pull ourselves up by our bootstraps right now. So identifying
Mm-hmm.
those strengths in your own business, other things that you're strong at, other things that people go, man, you every time you do that, it's like it's a home run. Like, you just hit it out of the ballpark.
Mm.
Finding a way to monetize that and be able to create those new opportunities for growth in our business is what's going to be able to get people through this time, because it's going to keep income rolling in. Whereas, say, like, if your restaurant is is closed down, you can't do anything. I heard stories of, I think we lost you on video for a moment. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
still here.
that's
Hold on
fine.
just a second. There
I
we
heard,
go.
I heard stories about a week or so ago of it was up north. It wasn't here in Missouri. Of a restaurant, I guess local in town. They didn't have any bread, and this company was like,
Mm-hmm.
well, we can make bread, and they were just pumping out loaves of bread in this little small
Mm-hmm.
town, and people were coming in them for bread because the grocery store didn't have any. So they were finding new ways to keep doing business. And I think that's what,
Mm-hmm.
as Americans, that's what makes us strong, is that ability to adapt to these situations and not just
Mm-hmm.
kind of sit back and cry because, oh shoot, things aren't going my way right now. Um,
Yeah.
what makes MLP consulting and design different?
Um, I would say, as far as like the bookkeeping side of things, I work really hard to identify really all of the issues in your QuickBooks. So if you go to a CPA, a lot of times they'll get it ready for the tax return. They'll get the numbers that they need. They might even pull it out of your QuickBooks software and make the corrections in their own software before they take it over to the tax return. And then you're stuck with a QuickBooks file that still has mistakes in it, or still has, some old stuff in it that's not correct. And what I do typically is I come in and I review that file and I do all of the cleanup work for you. So I'll go through and I'll do that cleanup work. I make sure it's set up correctly. I do a lot of training, so I'm big on educating my clients. I don't feel like as a business owner, knowing about how the accounting system works and what you should know within the accounting system, that's not going to hurt me as a business owner. I feel like a lot of times accountants feel that way. We feel like, well, my knowledge is my proprietary thing, and so if I give that knowledge to my client, then they aren't going to need me anymore. And honestly, what it is it's actually a time factor,
Yep.
because most of my clients don't have the time to do the things that they're having me do. And so what we do is we work on educating our clients to make sure that they understand the financials. And we are adding key components. We're working with, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Profit First or the Pumpkin Plan. Both of those are books written by Mike Miklovitz, I think is his last name. I'm really probably butchering it, but he has some really good plans that help business owners um, grow their business better, and how to make sure that, like with Profit First, it's about making sure that you get paid as a business owner, so that you aren't feeling defeated, you aren't feeling overwhelmed by the fact that you're working all these hours and not really seeing the benefit. And so we work with business owners to help them put those key things in place so that they can feel like, oh yeah, I'm actually making money. I'm actually getting a salary. I'm taking a salary. It may not be that big the first couple of years, but we're using percentages and using, you know, key calculations. It's not just, oh, we, discover a profit line number that we want. No, we actually use calculations to figure out, how much profit can you take, and then take that and set it aside. And you're able to do that through by breaking it down. And it's really complicated, and I'm not going to do a
I
good
get it.
job of explaining it in a short video, but just it's processes that we put in place to help our clients make sure that they understand what's going on. And then with the like I said earlier, with the design side, we've got speed going for us. Like I said, he's really quick on the turnaround typically. He's very good at what he does. He loves working with vector, and if you're not familiar with vector, that's where you can expand or shrink it without distorting the image. And so he makes sure that you get that vector file so that you can put it on anything and
Anything
it will still
from
look
as
good.
small as a business card logo to a giant billboard on the highway, and it
Right,
still is in
exactly.
resolution. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I
So
love what you
so I
touched
think those
on.
are our key strengths. And then obviously the part that we have the in-house graphic designer as well as the bookkeeper in the same business, that's always a unique
Yeah.
thing that we have.
Well, yeah, it is unique. I'm sure there's probably not a lot of other bookkeeping companies in town that offer that. And I
No,
love what
they're
you
not.
touched on with knowledge. And a lot of business owners are afraid if they give away too much knowledge, then my clients won't need me anymore. And that is so far from the truth. I love how you touched on that, because
Yeah.
the reality is, well, and right now, knowledge is like the most valuable commodity that's out there.
Mhm.
It is the most valuable commodity. And I've gotten a lot into digital training in the last couple of years, and it's
Mhm.
it's unreal to me how many people and how many barriers I put up to myself before I started coming out with courses and trainings and whatnot, that I told myself, well, people won't want this, or but if I teach people all these tricks and all this knowledge, then it's not going to be unique anymore, or it's just going to kind of flood the market, and the ability to do that
Mhm.
will go away, or this or that or whatever. The reality is, probably 90% of the people that buy the knowledge never put it into practice. So from a business perspective, um, from a practicality perspective, that's kind of bad, because you wish people would take advantage of what they're paying for. But from a business perspective, it's awesome, because people are willing to buy knowledge. People want to buy knowledge,
Mhm.
and they want to buy service where knowledge is also being given away to them as a part of that package. Like,
Mhm.
as a marketer, it's always my goal to educate my clients, okay, and keep them on the forefront of it.
Mhm.
And that's one of the ways that I make sure, I'm kind of being retained. So
Mhm.
I love that. I love that you touched on that. A lot of times, small business owners, especially when times turn tough, like right now, will find themselves taking on anyone as a client. And, it's kind of like, as
Mhm.
long as I'm being paid, sure, come on board. But all too often, we all know that turns out to be a terrible decision. Um,
Mhm.
as business owners, we typically know who our perfect client is. Lydia, who is your ideal client?
So my ideal client is someone who has been working with QuickBooks for a couple of years, and they've realized that they have just really totally messed this up. Like, they know the struggle. They recognize, I've not done something properly because I'm not
Right.
getting the reports that I'm wanting to out of this. And so they're needing, a big, usually it entails a big cleanup job to get them where they need to be, which can take a couple of months depending on, the amount of work and the amount of data that's in there. And then You know, and then hopefully they turn into a monthly client typically they do, because they know how bad it was when they were doing it, and they're like, I don't want it to get that bad again.
Right.
So I really want someone else looking over my shoulder, you know, even if they're keeping, like, we don't typically do invoicing for our clients, you know, I'm not, because it's much more practical
Mhm.
for them to actually just go ahead and create the invoices and send them off, because it takes twice as long for them to send me the information and then for me to get in and put it into QuickBooks and then send it to the client. So typically it's more practical for them to just put it in and send it to the client. But they have me do, you know, transaction classification that takes their information that comes in from the bank, and we classify all their expenses and make sure the deposits match and do a bank reconciliation, and then
Yeah.
we review
All
the
the stuff that
financials
we
with
don't want to
them.
do as business owners.
Right, exactly. All the stuff that you guys don't want to do, don't have the time to do, that's typically what I take on a monthly basis. And so my clients that have gone through that for a couple of years, I mean, ideally I would like to get them when they first start out so that I can save them the headache. But the ones that I found that the ones that I get when they first start out, they think they can do it all themselves, or they feel like they can't afford to
Right.
have you know, to pay for a bookkeeper. And so I'm like, so really, you know, I'm better off when someone spent a couple of years trying to do it themselves, and then, oops, sorry, there we go, trying to do it themselves, and then they you know, then they realize how much they need a bookkeeper. And kind of the same with, I mean, logos and stuff. Obviously, we would love to get that brand new business owner and get them started with a good logo from the get-go. But a lot of times, you know, it takes them going to Fiverr and getting a really bad logo from Fiverr to say, oh, you know, I really need something that looks really good and really is unique to me and my brand. And so then they come to us and they'll want that sort of thing. And so we're working on, right now, I'm actually working on redoing a few of our packages to make it more inclusive and to be more like a full package, and have them come and do the whole thing with us. Like, we would
Right.
do logo, website, business cards, and we'll get your QuickBooks set up and get you going on that as well. So it's like a whole package type of deal.
Very
So
cool.
we're
Lydia,
working on some.
your video has frozen up. You might want to.
Oh,
There you
I'm
go.
sorry.
It's all right. You're on now. I got you
Okay.
now. One other question for you, and this is one that I've kind of been asking business owners that I've interviewed, and that is with the COVID-19 restrictions in place that we're all dealing with so wonderfully right now. How how is that affecting your business, and you know, or is it? And do you have any kind of specials or anything that you're offering right now for businesses due to that?
So right now we haven't really noticed any difference. The biggest difference is I can't be out in the community talking with new people. So
Yeah.
having an opportunity like this where I can get in front of people is really good for us in that aspect. And I really appreciate you taking the time and allowing us to have this opportunity. Like I said, because it's just really hard right now to get in front of people. As far as doing the work, since 90% of what I do is done remotely, and I have the components in place to be able to do that on a regular basis, I can, you know, remote into someone's
I'm losing you.
computer and walk them through what
I'm losing your
needs to
audio and video.
be done. I can't. So the only big difference is that I'm not doing in-person meetings anymore. Sorry.
Got it.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
It's
My
okay.
battery's getting low and I have it plugged up, but it doesn't seem.
It's okay.
Okay.
I went ahead and restarted the video. I stopped the video from him to see if that would help. There we go. All right. Well,
Okay.
Lydia, I really appreciate you taking the time to jump on here with me today, and love getting to know a little bit more about your business. And I really hope we're going to shoot this out in the group. It'll probably be Monday or Tuesday this next week. I've got another one that's going up later today. And, I hope that it gets in front of a lot of eyes. And anyhow, I wish you the best, and hope to get to meet you in person.
Awesome.
All this stuff blows over. So
yeah, absolutely.
all right.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.